Recording for this meeting has begun.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dustin DiCarlo, and on behalf of Carahsoft Technology Corporation, I'd like to welcome you to our Salesforce and Launchpad webcast, Transforming Workforce Development with the Regional Jobs Cloud. Before we get started, I would like to go to a few housekeeping items. The audio portion of this webcast can be heard through your computer speakers, or if you prefer, you can use the dial-in displayed on the screen to listen to your telephone. All lines have been muted to reduce any background noise. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the chat pod on the left side of your screen, and we'll do our best to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. If for some reason we do not get to your questions, our team will certainly follow up with you offline. To tell you a little bit about Carahsoft, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider, delivering software and support solutions to federal, state, local, and education customers. Carahsoft maintains dedicated teams to support sales and marketing for all of its vendors, including Salesforce, VMware, and Symantec. Our contact information will be displayed at the end of the presentation, so please don't hesitate to call or email us for any of your needs. This webcast is being recorded, and a copy of the presentation will be emailed to you. Now, this is just a quick agenda for everything we're going to go over today. And before we get started, I just want to share with you our safe harbor statement, which is also located on the Salesforce website. Essentially, it says that any purchasing decisions you make should be based on current available technology, because this presentation may contain forward-looking statements. Now, these are our speakers for today. First, we're going to have AJ, co-founder of Launchpad. He shares 15 years of experience in public and private sector employment and workforce development. Prior to starting Launchpad, he had a successful career in private sector staffing, and now as CEO of Launchpad, he is responsible for customer success and new product development. Today we'll also have Art Taguding from Salesforce. He is the Director of Workforce Development for Salesforce for the state and local government. He's been on Salesforce for 4 months after he had an extensive career in the public sector. He was an appointee by Governor Martin O'Malley, who's actually currently a presidential candidate. He served as the director of Governor's Workforce Investment Board Center for Industry Initiatives, whose recognized work in the business demand-driven sector-based industry initiatives process engaged Bill Marriott, Norman Augustine, former president and CEO of Lockheed Martin Worldwide, Ron Peterson, President Johns Hopkins Healthcare Global, and many other industry, education, and government leaders. With the Maryland Department of Labor, Licensing and Regulation, Art served under the leadership of Tom Perez, who now serves on President Obama's cabinet as the U.S. Secretary of Department of Labor, and he also worked directly under Eric Sells, now the current U.S. Department of Labor Deputy Assistant Secretary. Art has an extensive professional background in higher education administration at 4 universities, and he even taught courses in self-image psychology, business, and leadership development and career preparation. Lastly, he served as president a board member of a number of national, regional, and state professional associations. Art brings his professional background to the Salesforce public sector team. And then finally, we'll kick it off with Danica Milsatoon, who is Director of Sector Development and Business Services for the Workforce Development Board of South Central Wisconsin, which covers the greater Madison area. Prior to workforce development, Danica held multiple roles in state government and worked as the state assembly. She is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a Bachelor of Science in Political Science. Now, AJ, the floor is all yours.
Justin, thank you very much for those great introductions, and good morning to those on the West Coast, and good afternoon to those in the Midwest and the East Coast. So I'd like to start it off here and just share with you guys, I want to thank everybody for joining and share with you guys, what does the future of a modern workforce development system look like? And, what we're really seeing out there as we talk to numerous workforce economic development education organizations is that the future of workforce development systems really must be demand-driven. And all of you know, many of you do know what demand-driven is, but really it's meaning the ability to engage the needs of business customers and respond with qualified workforce quickly. The second core theme of the future workforce development system is customer-driven, which means job seeker and employer customers, they want quick and easy access to your services. And that also means anytime, anywhere, including from mobile devices. And the third theme is data-driven. And data-driven really means, your funders, directors, and policymakers, they want access to real-time data on all aspects of program performance, not just common measures, which is very important, but other things as well, and the ability to get real-time ad hoc data so they can make data-driven decisions and investments in the community. And then the fourth area, which we're going to really be talking about to bring it all together, is regional. A workforce development system is moving towards a regional approach, which means that we're realizing that job creation, economic development is a regional activity which requires agencies to collaborate and coordinate with workforce, economic development, and education partners to address skills gaps, unemployment, and labor shortages at the regional level. So I want to tell you guys just a little bit about Launchpad. Many of you have heard of us, and we've worked with many of you out there, but we are the leading case management and CRM application for workforce development on the Salesforce platform. Since 2010, gosh, we've worked with over 40 workforce agencies that are using our platform throughout the country. And our founding team has over 40 years of experience in workforce and economic development. And so we're really proud, not just in public sector, but also private sector economic development. And our mission is really, how do we help workforce development organizations transform their communities, through cloud, social, and mobile technology, and really helping get more people back to work, shorten skills gaps, and help businesses hire talented people in our communities. So just a quick slide here to show you, we've worked with numerous different agencies, from large regional and statewide organizations to small nonprofits that are delivering important workforce development services to their community. So with that being said, I'd like to pass this over to Art Taguding, who is going to share with you a little bit about Salesforce and some of the work that we're doing with them throughout the country.
Great, thanks AJ. It's great to be part of this webinar, and again, thank you all for joining us today. Some of you may not be familiar with Salesforce, so to start, let me quickly offer you a snapshot of Salesforce. So some of you may be asking, why Salesforce? I don't sell. Salesforce's first product in 1999 was a customer relationship management model, and we help sales industry manage their prospects and organize and automate their sales cycle. But we also discovered that after you had a customer through sales, you needed to service the customer. So we created solutions in service and in marketing and communities and data and analytics. So if you manage people, places, things, or programs or processes or clients, we have solutions for you. And Salesforce has been in the commuting business for 15 years. And we're globally known as a pioneer, an evangelist, and certainly a leader in cloud computing industry. And as the slide demonstrates, over the past 10 years, we've been supporting the success of many government agencies. In fact, it's been amazing to see the growth in terms of the number of local, state, and federal government clients. And in fact, our work in the government space is the fastest growing vertical in Salesforce. And so you can see we have presence in every state and with the federal government with hundreds of these successful government applications. And we're very fortunate that AJ and Launchpad is a respected national partner with us in the area of workforce, employment, and economic development. Okay, hold on. So as a result of our customer successes in both government and the commercial arenas, Salesforce has been fortunate to receive a number of credible distinctions and acknowledgments. And it's important to understand here that these distinctions are because of our customer success. In fact, Gartner has identified us as #1 in every industry market that we're in. So as you can see, we're #1 in cloud computing. We're #1 with CRM. And a point of pride for us is being recognized as the world's most innovative company in the most recent consecutive years by Forbes. Again, this is all due to our customer successes, and we're constantly striving to keep our customers and clients successfully satisfied and productive. Okay, so let's set the stage and let me allow me to paint a big picture of workforce development. There are three market forces that are converging that are driving change in workforce development today. #1 is the legislation, and clearly we owe it today. #2, the economy. The job market is up, the employer's job opportunities are rising, and there are skill gaps lagging in our economy. And the third element is technology. In corporate America and employers, they're leveraging mobile and social and advanced technology in the current cloud economy in a very modern fashion. And in fact, our customers, our job seekers, are also very mobile and socially savvy as well. and yet many government agencies rely on mainframe legacies and aging operational systems. And as Dustin shared with you earlier, in my background, I had a great, wonderful career in government. And AJ and I have been on the road across the United States spending time with agencies. And most recently, we crisscrossed the continent from the east to the left coast a couple of times this week. And in 1 week, we spent time essentially on a listening and learning tour with the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Workforce Council in Washington, D.C., with NASWA, with CIOs, with Cabinet Secretaries, Workforce Council, Economic Development Agencies. And it occurred to us that in listening to both the formal dialogue and the presentations that we had, but also to the hallway chatters, that throughout the years, and in particular with my career, there are programs and their processes and their terminologies that vary significantly. But the business core of workforce and employment development remains steadfast. And so right here on this slide is what I believe are the recurring themes that continue to drive you and me as workforce development professionals in all our levels and all our capacities. As you can see, number one at the top of the list has always been excellent customer service for our internal constituents as well as our external stakeholders. Business demand from the old formula, supply and demand, has converted to now where we're focused on job-driven and for our employers, and job readiness for our job seekers. Our interests were casual many years ago in terms of data, and now it's been migrated into there's a need for data, and that we have to have data to really understand our business and our operation. And now with RIOA, as you know, it's now a data-driven and an evidence-based operation in how we conduct business. Efficiency and productivity has always been a part of our business, but now, in addition to those two important factors, we also add accountability to performance metrics to our outcomes. And we talk about regional economies, and whether you call them sector or cluster-based, those are things on the forefront of the work that we do. And lastly, when you look at technology, it has been enabling for us as a profession. And back in the day, we used to say there's a form for that. But now with modern government agencies, they say there's an app for that. But bottom line for all this is job creation, and that's something that we need to focus on as part of our work. My workforce development staff used to say to me, "Art, welcome to my world." And this is what my world looked like back then. I don't know, maybe it might be similar to your world. But as sincere as we were, in terms of our passion, in terms of serving our customers, we would get distracted by the real world, the day-to-day realities and the pitter-patter of important matters. And we were driven by the lofty, but they can easily be supplanted by the needy. And as you can see with these three characters, our leadership, our managers, we're grappling with these kinds of issues. They had to respond to upstairs and downstairs demand for data. They had to manage staff and look at performance. When you look at staff, if you're a staff member, I know one of the top issues that always came up for us was timely data, getting the information, juggling our caseloads as well as doing the work and doing so. And I think that's a picture of me and my government ID card that when I was burdened and buried under my spreadsheets with Excel. And then lastly is our customers. The Pew Research Group said that 72% of our citizens are dissatisfied with government, and that our generations of citizens are looking for these kinds of things. They're looking for fast, convenient service. They're savvy in terms of mobile and social functionality. They expect it to be communicated to. They want transparency, and they have limited time, so they don't want to mess in terms of our process and in our timeline in doing so. And because of that, as a result of our world, government agencies end up being disconnected from the very group that they're in business with, and with our constituents, with our partners, with our employees. And then these things that are hampered, these important things in the middle, are falling into the gap. And ultimately, what do we need to do to advance our mission of job creation? To close these gaps, essentially government must pivot to the citizen and to the government needs. And the government needs to be accessible, to be mobile, to be responsive, to be communicative, and to be transparent. And government are starting to do that and have done that. There's open government policies with a lot of states in this country right now, and when it comes to their budgets or their process, so that the citizens get engaged and the job seeker can get a sense in terms of what's available to them. And then allow me to finish with this last slide before I turn it over to AJ. And WIOA, as you know, or WIOA, is now a significant part of our work in every state. And no doubt your state and your local agencies have a part in shaping and preparing the state unified plan prior to next July 2016. And there are three hallmarks of excellence with WIOA that focuses really on our imperatives as a profession. Number one is the needs of businesses and workers to drive the workforce solutions, and for the local boards to be accountable to the communities where they're located. For the one-stop centers or the American Job Centers to provide excellent customer service to both the job seekers and now for the first time our services to the employers in how they're being evaluated for continuous improvement. And last of all, the workforce system supports strong regional economies, of which AJ will talk a little bit more in terms of the solutions that we can offer in doing so. I love the quote. I don't know if you could read that at the very top, but underneath the title, Secretary Perez said, WIOA offers the opportunity to modernize, to step back and re-envision how we conduct business and restructure accordingly. And so WIOA is a real positive thing because it gives us a license to do what is best for our local communities. It allows us to discover innovation. It allows us to explore change, and it confronts us to assure that we have continuous improvement. And we know that many of you are working to do this, and you're well on your way, and this is a very exciting time for many agencies. And so I'm going to hand it off to AJ now. He's going to present, I know that with some things that are very important to you, and that's those 6 components of a modern workforce data system. He's going to offer you some possible solutions and resources, and also feature a number of our colleagues across the country that are experiencing success. So thank you for your time. And AJ?
Hey, Art, that was terrific, and as everyone can tell, Art, thank you so much for giving such a great background in workforce development and really bringing this into context, how we work together to transform workforce development. It's been great to partner with you, and yes, we've been putting a lot of miles, airline miles lately, but it's been a lot of fun. So who's using Salesforce for workforce and economic development? I think it's great to kind of show really what's been happening nationwide. Gosh, there's over 125 agencies in 35 states that are now utilizing the Salesforce platform to do workforce and economic development, including the U.S. Department of Labor, who's utilizing platform to do some of the apprenticeship program, which they just recently announced. So let's get right into it. The 6 components of the modern workforce data system. We didn't come up with this on our own. Again, this was from really a listening tour and working with dozens of clients throughout the country. What are the main areas that they need as far as technology to move into this new era? Number one is going to be CRM, and CRM for case management. You're going to hear the word CRM a lot, and as Art articulated, CRM has gone far beyond sales now. It really is a leading platform for case management, those who want to have dynamic, engaged case management services. CRM for business. This is a natural fit. Engaging with business sector, employers, job developers, business services. The ability to customize. This is huge. A lot of clients that we talk to have systems, legacy systems, that either require consultants and programmers to come in and change, or they're not able to change it because it's held by the solution provider and it's inflexible. This is a huge area, the ability to customize. Collaboration and coordination, as Art talked about, everybody moving towards a regional approach and working with partners, you need to be able to collaborate. Self-service and mobile. If we can pick one thing that's really going to change the world of workforce development and engaging with your customers, the job seekers, the employers, it's going to be the mobile revolution. And real-time data. For executive directors, funders, the number one complaint we hear when we sit down in their offices is, I need access to data on our programs. So we're going to talk about these 6 themes. Right now, I'd like to do a quick poll, if we can, if Dustin can cue the poll. We'd like to find out from you all, and this is interactive, which of those 6 themes you are most interested in hearing about today. So if we can just take a moment, and if you can click on your screen, which of these 6 areas are of greatest interest to you, and I'm going to take that information and use that to adjust the presentation. Gosh, this is great. All of them seem to be of interest. There's no one that's leading. It looks like real-time, it's like a horse race. Real-time data and CRM case management are leading the pack. Wait another moment here. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pause that. I don't know how much time we have for that, Dustin, but it looks like CRM for case management and reporting are of most interest, and then the other two. So that's great. The first slide we're going to jump into is CRM for case management. So thank you, Dustin. Perfect. So let's talk about how do you use CRM for case management? Well, we'd like to highlight what some of our customers are doing and really share with you how they're having success. And first I'd like to talk about LA County. We've worked with LA County for, almost 4 years now. And they're utilizing, one of their challenges was that they had silos between case management and job developers, right? So business services teams are going out there, engaging with businesses, and they needed access to job seekers very quickly. In addition to that, they had hundreds of job developers out there that were not coordinating efforts. And lastly, they had a legacy case management system that was not built for a demand-driven model. So what we did, we worked with them in bringing our Launchpad and Salesforce solution. We deployed Launchpad to all their job developers. So we got all their job developers onto the system so they now could collaborate, share data on job seekers, share data on jobs. We deployed our Chatter collaboration platform, which allows everybody from the career services and case managers to the job developers all to coordinate. And then we brought and replaced their legacy case management system with CRM for case management, which is allowing them to bring it all together so that the case managers can coordinate services, collaborate with job developers, really changing the paradigm for them. So CRM for case management, there's really 4 areas that we want to highlight. And again, CRM, customer relationship management, is modernizing the way we do case management. It's going to give you a 360-degree view of client activity, be able to manage multiple programs and grants. This is a huge point that we hear from clients, is that they're not just managing WIOA. They've got TANF, they've got veterans, they've got NEG programs, you've got all kinds of different programs, and they need one system that can manage all of those programs. And then they want to have real-time participation status. Where is my client in the process of these different programs? And then automation of job matching. So CRM really allows you to do those types of things and go beyond traditional case management. And I'm sorry if I'm going quickly here, but we want to get to our guest speaker in time, so I'm going to go through these quickly. So let's talk about CRM for business services. I'd like to highlight, this has been an exciting client that we've been able to work with here in our backyard here in Northern California. San Francisco Office of Economic and Workforce Development. They've been really a truly innovative partner that we've been able to work with. They approached us, and one of the challenges that they had was that there was no way to track their first source hiring program for jobs or placements. Secondly, they needed it to improve coordination with over 50 service providers. So as many of you as funding organizations are contracting out to service providers, how do you track that, and how do you keep all of them engaged and moving in the same direction? And then thirdly, they had low utilization of their current labor exchange, and were really looking for a way to modernize their labor exchange and bring employers and job seekers together in the cloud. So the solution, number one, we implemented the CRM and applicant tracking system on Launchpad, and deployed, and we're in the process right now, it's in beta, but deploying a new online labor exchange that will be called SF Jobs. And then thirdly, creating an online community utilizing Salesforce's service provider collaboration to be able to bring together all of the service providers and really align them in going in the same direction so they're demand-driven, customer-centric, and data-driven. So CRM for Business really allows you to do that. You can track business data with CRM. You can connect business services teams regionally. And again, automating job matching. And really bringing this collaborative regional approach to demand-driven business services. The third area is customizable platform, and this is huge. One of the things that we're going to talk about here is how flexible and extensible the Salesforce and Launchpad platform is. So when you get the CRM or when you deploy it first, you can really improve it over an agile methodology. So I'd like to share with you one of our first clients, actually, Los Angeles Economic and Workforce Development Department. They've been a tremendous client because they've really looked at how can they use this platform in numerous different ways. Their challenge, number one, is they had numerous legacy data systems. They had, I can't even count the number of programs that the city of Los Angeles is delivering: economic development, workforce development, youth employment, education, training, you name it, they're delivering those services. The challenge, though, is that in order to get data, oftentimes it took 6 months to get that data, and by the time they got the data, it was 9 months old. So imagine going to your city council or to the mayor's office and saying, here's how many jobs we created, but oh, by the way, that was 2014, right? So the goal was, how do we bring all that together and then additionally manage multiple workforce and economic development programs under one system? The solution, we deployed the platform for them, firstly deploying a CRM application for their business source system, which was their kind of one-stop center for small businesses and entrepreneurs. They had 11 different centers spread throughout the city. Thirdly, they used the chatter collaboration tool on Launchpad and Salesforce to connect folks who were delivering NEG grant programs as well as the back-to-work staff programs, bringing everybody together on the chatter collaboration platform. And then thirdly, adding an application for layoff aversion and their executive CRM, which is currently in the third phase, to be able to allow them, the layoff aversion folks, to go out and engage with businesses in real time and try to mitigate losses of layoffs. And then the executive team can track high-level business relationships. And again, it's all in the same system so they can share and collaborate on data. Here's just a quick snapshot so you can see some of the information that they're able to capture in real time. This is a real-time executive dashboard that they have that allows them to see how many clients are enrolled, by what type, how many businesses received funding, how many jobs were created because of that funding, and what are the types of services that the different agencies are receiving. So if you can think of it, if you can think of the report, you can create it utilizing Salesforce and Launchpad platform. And as we said earlier, you can really customize this platform to meet your needs. You can add new programs, fields, layouts, build completely mobile apps on the platform, automate business processes, and manage access and permissions with users, whether it's at the state level, regional level, local level, service provider level. You can control who sees what and at what access. All right, so let's jump into the fourth item here, collaboration. I'm really excited to talk about this one, particularly because we've got Danica Nielsenstoon, who's going to be talking a little bit later about Wisconsin. But Wisconsin's been really innovative and phenomenal partner. I'm sure that we've got folks on Wisconsin on this webinar. They've just been terrific, and I think really ahead of the game as far as trying to really drive regional collaboration. When we first started working with them, gosh, almost 3 years ago, a little more than 3 years ago, the challenge really was how do we coordinate services between business services teams regionally? You've got teams in Madison, Milwaukee, Bay Area, the Northwest, and many times calling on the same businesses. There was really a need, there was a lack, and in addition to that, a lack of coordination with economic development and education. And then thirdly, they really were transitioning from a supply-driven model to a demand-driven model and needed tools to be able to support that. So the solution, number one, they formed the Skills Wisconsin Consortium, which was 11 workforce boards, the State Workforce Development Agency, Economic Development Agency, and the Technical College System came together to really address these issues and figure out how can we drive job creation at the regional level. We implemented the Launchpad and Salesforce business CRM system and put all of the business services teams on the system. So now if one business member from DDR goes and calls on a business, or if another one calls on a business in the Milwaukee area, they have and they can share that information so that they're not competing but more so collaborating. And then thirdly, connecting with economic development to engage businesses earlier. So if economic development has a business that's creating, let's say, 100 jobs in the Madison area, that information can be shared with workforce development so they can go and funnel workers to that business. And this is just a quick snapshot of some of the reports and data that you can see that they're able to track. Employers with activity, hires from external sources, employers that are utilizing different services, cross-WDA hires, which I know Danica will talk about. That's a report that shows how many people are being hired across different regions so that they can actually show and measure collaboration. And lastly, how do you use the system to connect? We talked about connecting business services staff. You really can break down communication silos and drive collaboration with economic development, with workforce development, and really flatten organizational hierarchy to really drive demand-driven business services. So let's talk about self-service here and jump into this one quickly. So I think self-service is really a huge area in workforce development, especially as you have high caseloads and a lot of people that are moving towards a mobile-first strategy. And I'd like to highlight one of our great partner clients up in the upper Midwest, St. Paul, Minnesota. They have a phenomenal program called Right Track, and it's their youth employment program. And they do a tremendous job in the St. Paul community and really connecting youth in the urban community with jobs and employers in the community. And I think one of the challenges that they presented to us was really, they had confusing websites for employers and youth. They had multiple different websites, multiple different systems, and it really was a paper-driven process, lots of forms, and it really wasn't customer-friendly. And then thirdly, the most important thing was that, as we know today, all of the youth are on mobile device. They're really a mobile-first generation. As you're walking down the street, you see kids with, they're glued to their mobile phone. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. This is really their world. So you've got to be able to, especially if you're doing youth employment, you've got to be delivering services to them in that format. So what we did, we partnered with them and created a mobile youth and employer labor exchange, a complete system where youth can go on from their mobile device, iPad, tablet, iPhone, Android, and actually enroll in the program from their mobile device. In addition, the system facilitated job placement using applicant tracking and CRM. Basically, the youth could go on, select the top 5 jobs that they want, and then submit that information, and it would go to the staff who could manage and make those introductions with employers. And thirdly, integrating with back office payroll systems so that they didn't have multiple duplicate data entry. Mobile is really an exciting transition, and here's just a quick screenshot of their website. I encourage everyone to go to Right Track St. Paul or St. Paul Right Track and take a look at the site. It's really a mobile-friendly version now, and it's really a great way that they're engaging the business and youth communities. And just to highlight how cloud, social, and mobile is really transforming how we deliver services, there's going to be over 5 billion smartphones by 2017 and 4.5 billion aggregate social users globally. So people are really engaged on their smartphones. Utilizing the mobile strategy, you can deliver services 24/7, access to customers anywhere, and you can engage customers 100% via their mobile device. In addition to that, we're seeing social collaboration. Really, how do you deliver services in a more social and collaborative format? And let's cap it off. The last, but probably one of the most important areas, which you all talked about on the poll, which was real-time dashboards and real-time analytics and reports. I'd like to highlight one of our, coming back here to California, City of